Hi everybody, hi children, hope you're all staying safe out there, hope you're all enjoying all this nice lovely weather while we can. I'm Richard and I'm Miss Eddie Shaw's partner. Miss Eddie Shaw's asked me if I would kindly put together a short video just to give you all an idea of how you can draw a teddy bear. So as you can probably see from where I'm sat with all the little characters around me and all the coloured pencils, etc, etc, and the artboard, I'm an illustrator. So I paint pretty pictures for a living. I've done lots of different things over my time. I've drawn wildlife artwork, I've done book illustration, I've drawn cat portraits, dog portraits, but one of the things I've also done a lot of is greetings cards, so birthday cards, get well soon cards, Christmas cards, etc. And one of the characters that I've worked quite a lot on is the Forever Friends teddy bears. So I've drawn hundreds and hundreds of Forever Friends teddy bears over my time, and that's what we're going to do this afternoon. So what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to go step by step, and I'm going to show you how you can actually create this picture. So this is one of the Forever Friends teddy bears, and we're going to put our own little statement on the piece of paper in front of us here. Whatever you want to write on, that's up to you, but I'm going to show you step by step how to put this picture together, and it's very simple. So don't panic and don't worry. Obviously if you get stuck at any point, then just pause the video, rewind it. I will take you through step by step how we're going to do that. So without further ado, let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so first things first, what we're going to need. So we're going to need a normal piece of A4 paper. We're going to need a normal pencil. I've got a slightly technical pencil which I like to use, but you'll be absolutely fine, no problem, with a normal pencil you would use at school. And then we're going to need some coloured pencils, probably about 9 or 10 different colours. Obviously we'll go through what we're going to need as we get to them. And lastly, you're going to need a rubber, because we are going to rub little bits of things out, but don't panic about that. Right, so first things first, don't panic. So as I'm going through this, I'm obviously very used to doing them, so I can do them quite quickly. I will slow down. All you need to remember is if you get anything wrong, you've got your rubber, you just have to rub it out, try again, practice makes perfect. If you get stuck, pause the video, rewind it, play it again, and when you're ready, we go on to the next step. So, as I said at the beginning, these are really, really simple things to do, these teddy bears. And all it is really is a setup of shapes that you put together, so circles and squares and everything else. So the first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the teddy bear's head. And all the head is to start with is a very large oval. Yeah. Now what you want to do is don't worry about your lines being together, because it's going to be quite rough. And actually the way that you draw these teddy bears is really rough anyway. So as you can see, I'm not worried about the number of lines and the number of swirls that we're doing here. I just want the general shape of the head itself, which is a slightly squished circle. One thing that is important though is not putting a lot of pressure on your pencil. So you just want to be really gentle with your pencil. So if you look at the two differences, if you're really pressing on with your pencil, you'll create a dark line. Yeah, fairly dark line if you press on. If you just do it quite simply and quite gently, the pencil will be quite light, and that's what you need. You need a little bit of light and not too hard. We're going to fill the hard bits in next later on. So we've got our little light circle that we've got our shape for, which is absolutely fine. And next we want to do the piece of paper. Now again, don't worry about crossing over the lines. We're going to come back to that later, but again, really soft with your hand, not too hard, and you just want to draw out the little bit of paper that the teddy bear is holding. Again, really light. Now if you want at this point, we can actually rub out what we're not going to see, because as you can see, the piece of paper is going to be in front of the teddy bear's face, isn't it? So this bit under here, we just rub this out. Again, the style of the teddy bears is quite messy anyway, so don't worry about the lines at the moment. So as you can see, we've got the teddy bear's head and we've got the blank piece of paper in front of him. The next thing we want to do is his hands. And again, his hands are just 2 circles again. So just like the head, which is a large circle, we've got 2 little circles in front. So what we're going to do here is draw the circles in. Yeah, and his hands are holding the top of the paper. And what you want to do is just make sure that you get a little bit of overlap there, look, like that. Yeah, and the same with the other side. Other side, another hand around. Again, we're very light with the pencil. We're not pressing on at all. We're just letting the weight of the pencil really to hit the paper. We're just guiding it around, okay? So the next part, we want to do, the bottom part we want to do is the bottom of his body and his feet. So if we just kind of draw an imaginary line straight down to where we want the body to start, and we're just going to bend the bottom of the body around. Yeah, again, weight of the pencil is really light, and you can go over the lines a few times just to get your shape correct. Now the 2 feet will come down from the bottom of his body, and we're going to go around in a circle, and we're going to go over the top of the bottom of his tummy in a sweeping motion. Yeah, just like that. Again, weight of the pencil is really light, and you want it just to curve around, and you can see then his foot is starting to take a little bit of shape. The underneath of his foot there, as you can see, look, where the little pad of his foot is, you just want to put that in. Yeah, and then we want to do the other foot. Now the other foot is slightly behind his first foot, so again you want to just place that behind, and again run it round, quite light again. And as you can see, mine's still really messy, lots of lines, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. It'll all come together in the end. And then finally, the top of his foot there, a little bit of a pad underneath, and you've got already, as you can see, the basic shape of the teddy bear coming together. Now if you want, you can start to do the little bits of rubbing out. So we just want to rub out the top of the paper there, look where his hands are, and again on this side. Yeah, top of his feet, where his tummy is behind his feet, so everything that's behind is going to be rubbed out, and the top of his feet there and behind. So now, quite simple to start with. And now we want to put his little ears on. So we've got one little ear at the top here. Again, it's just a half circle, very simple. And you've got another little half circle inside. Yeah. And then his other little ear is further down because he's looking down slightly, isn't he? So, 2 ears. Now the all important part is his face. So if you look at where the face is, it's right at the bottom, in the bottom half of the bigger circle. And as a guide, you're going to put this oval in half with a little line that's running right down the middle of his face. Do you imagine your teddy bears at home? You've probably got ones where their head is like splitting, like so. Now, his nose goes in first, so you can put the nose 3/4 of the way down. Yeah, and then you've just got another little bit of a circle here, so another little crescent at the top of his nose that runs over and round. Again, really soft with your pencil. Don't press on too hard, because we're going to do those pressings on later. And then his little eyes are a little bit like speech marks. Really simply, just 2 little speech marks either side of his nose. And as you can see, it's coming together really nicely. Continue your little line down here, where the bottom of his nose is. And then his little smiley face is just popping out from behind a piece of paper. Okay, now we're almost ready to colour in already. So that's only taken just, what, 4 or 5 minutes, and we've already got the shape of the teddy bear ready to colour in. So now what we might want to do is you might want to just tighten up some of these lines. So where you've got the kind of the messy lines, don't worry about that, we're going to leave most of that in. You just want to kind of define where you actually want the proper lines to be. Now you're going to apply a little bit more pressure with your pencil, so press on just a little bit more, making sure that you've got to keep the shape together. You're just going to overlap the little line a little bit there. Define his hand, making sure that you stick to where you originally put your original lines in. Now, for this little bit here, it's just going to look like it's folded over a little bit. So you take your rubber and you just rub the corner off, and then just draw your square, your little corner of your paper, back, tucked back in. Quite a simple little triangle. Okay. So once you're at that stage, all we're going to do now is we're going to show you how to colour it in. Okay, so hopefully you've got that far and you've got something that looks pretty much like that. Again, like I said earlier, I've been doing these a long time, so I'm very used to doing them. I've done them hundreds and hundreds of times. You might need a little bit more practice, so just keep watching the pencil drawing at the beginning, and practice makes perfect, and you will get it. Just remember, it's quite simple. We're just building up shapes in circles and lines, etc. If you do it step by step, you'll get there, so don't worry. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to colour it in. And again, this is really rough. If you think of your teddy bears at home, as you've been growing up, the fur on your teddy bears is quite rough at times. So what we want to do is we want to build that kind of that texture into the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a series of different colours. If you want to get a colour that's similar in shade to these, yeah, I use a little bit of colour called Prismacolor. You can use any pencils you want, any pencils you've got at home. So I'm going to start off with kind of a yellowy colour, like an ochre yellow colour, and we're going to colour in all the fur of the teddy bear as a base colour. Now you don't need to worry too much about how you put this down. It's up to you how you want to colour it in. I have a certain technique for how I colour them in, so I'll show you how I do that. It's kind of in a circular motion, so we build the colour up. Again, it's not much pressure on your pencil, so just hold the pencil quite casually, and I build the colour up in circles. Look, so just building it up in a circular motion, applying semi-pressure, half pressure on your fingers. Probably about the same pressure you'd hold your knife or your fork when you're eating your dinner. And what we're doing is, as we're trying to make it a little bit darker in places, we're just applying a little bit more pressure to the pencil. And as we keep going back over it, it starts to darken a little bit. Can you see how it's darkening underneath? And we're going to leave this little bit in the centre here. We're not going to colour that in at all, because that's going to show you how it shines, and it's going to be lighter. Get a bit of tone into it. So again, just make sure that we've got a little bit of colour around it all. Yeah. And we're going to do that for the whole of the picture. So let's start on his other hand. Again, run it around in circular motions. You don't have to do it circular if you don't want. If you're used to doing it flat like that, then you can do that just the same. It's up to you. So I think it's the way I've taught myself how to do it. I prefer to do it in circles, and again we just build up that colour underneath, and as we apply a little bit more pressure, we just get it to start looking a little bit dark and a bit fuller. and you can start to see that the hands starts a little bit of paw, little bear's paw starts to take effect. Okay. So now we're going to do the head, which is the biggest part. So now if you want, you can take your rubber and on little bits of pencil sketching that you did at the beginning, you just want to a little bit taking those out just to clean it up just a little bit. And then we're going to just give the whole of the bear's head the base colour again. And again, we're not worried about it being too perfect, because the little bits of imperfection on his fur just makes it look that little bit more realistic. The whole idea of doing these teddy bears is that it's not meant to look perfect. It's meant to look lovable because it's slightly imperfect. And we're just going to generally apply in a circular motion the full colour. And what you find is as you start to colour him in, as your pencil starts to get a little bit of a flat spot on the end, so it's not as sharp anymore, and you get that little bit of a flat spot of colour, and that helps you to fill it in a lot more smoothly like this, instead of it being very scratchy, if you like, for want of a better word, when you put the pencil down. And you can see now he's starting to come to life as you colour him in. Again, you just don't allow too much pressure on your pencil, just enough to hold it firmly, but you don't want to be pressing down too hard on the paper. You can keep going back into it and building up that colour. Look, can you see how you just keep going back over it and over it and over it, and your colour will just build up slightly and build up. So, coming along nicely. Next thing we're going to do is a little bit of his ears. So again, we want a little bit of a light spot on the top here because the light's coming from above. And we're going to put some light into his ears here. So I'm going to put a fair bit of pressure on the bottom, and as we go up into the top of his ear, we take the pressure off a little bit, the pencil. And again on this side, pressure on to start with, and then just ease off a little bit, and you get a little bit of light on the top of his ear. And we're going to do the same with the other side. So again, pressure on the bottom, easing off to the top. And there we go. Okay. So now we're going to do his feet. So that's in exactly the same way. So in exactly the same way we did his little paws, where he's got a little bit of white on the front at the top. We're going to do the same for his feet here. So again, just a little bit of tidying up to do. Taking out some of the inside lines that we might not want on, just to tidy him up. And then we're going to use the same pencil, try to get the flat spot again that you've been using to build it up. Start at the bottom and work around. Try and keep the same pressure as you build up the colour. Be patient with your building up the colour. And we're going to leave this centrepiece here lighter, so we're not going to take the pencil over there, we're just going to swirl around it. Some colour on the top of his foot. And you might think that it still looks a little bit plain at the moment, but when we get going, you'll thicken it out and it'll start to look exactly like that one. But you can see he's already starting to take shape and he's starting to come to life, bless him. Okay, on to the next one. Again, start at the bottom. I am doing this one a little bit quickly. Normally I would take possibly a little bit more time on. You can take as much time as you want until you get it right. As I say, if you you need to pause it and practice, and just pause it and practice. So you might want to take a piece of paper and just practice your pressure before you start. Just get a coloured pencil and just do some simple shading, and just get used to the difference in your pressure of your pencil. If I show you an example, oh, sorry, forget. Just take a normal blank sheet of paper and just practice with your pressure. So we're going to put very little pressure on, which gives us a basic colour, very fine, and then a little bit more pressure. You can see the colour changes. You should put more and more pressure on it, and the most pressure you can put on, and you'll get a very solid colour. So you can see there's 3 different types of pressure, and as you build those pressures up, what you should see is you'll get a gradient of colour, yeah, as you put more and more pressure on. Just practice with that before you start on your actual picture. Once you're happy with the pencil, just start practicing with your pressure. Okay, so final bit of his fur is just his tummy here. So what we're going to do with his tummy here is we're just going to do a little bit of, leave his centre of his tummy, because if you look at some of your teddy bears, you might see that they've got a little bit of a white tummy here, and that's what we're going to do with our Forever Friends bear. So just around the centre. And there's your basic colour. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some of these little darker highlights all around his fur. So first of all, we're going to use the normal pencil that we've been doing so far, the first pencil that we've been putting the colour down. We're going to apply more pressure to these areas. So again, don't worry about so much in the flat bit now. You can actually turn your pencil a little bit, and that'll give you a lot deeper colour, and you just apply a little bit more pressure. Now again, this takes practice. What you need to do is, as you're actually putting the colour down, just ease off on your pressure on your pencil. So as you're doing the circular motion, if you're going to do that, you can do it the same way with this as well, as if you do it left and right and up and down as you do. But just ease off on your pressure a little bit in these different areas. So this bit in here needs to be a little bit darker. And again, on this side, we're going to do the same thing, a little bit darker, and we're going to ease the pressure off. Just shading it in. And again, on his leg here, pressure and ease it off. As you can see now, he's starting to take shape. And just under his tummy here, where his leg meets his tummy, and just make that a little bit darker, and then again take the pressure off a little bit and just ease it off. Now start to build up some shade under his feet. Try not to do too much, try not to make it too dark, otherwise it'll start to look a little bit dirty. But what you are doing is you're making it look like fur. And you're just going to highlight some different areas. So you can put this colour away now for the time being, and we're going to get a slightly darker brown colour. So this is slightly darker. Again, it's slightly flattened at one edge, and you might want to just take a piece of paper. If your pencil's fairly sharp and pointed, you don't really want it too pointed, you want a little bit of a flat spot. So just take your piece of paper, hold it in your hand, and then just from side to side, just make a flat spot on the pencil. And what that will do is, it'll make it a lot easier to shade it in. And then with this pencil, really lightly, again with the pressure, is you're going to put some colour into, again, where you just want some highlights. Again, this needs to be really light how you do that. And at no point really in this part you're going to put a lot of pressure on. And again, what you want to do is you just want to be highlighting some of the areas. Quite simple. Again, I use a circular motion. If you want to practice this, I do find it's the best way of building up the style of these little teddy bears. And the bottom of his paws. Top and bottom. Now, as we come to his bottom half, you can see it's slightly darker here, because what we're trying to give the impression of is that the white piece of paper is in front of his tummy, and his tummy is obviously shadowed by the piece of paper. So we're just going to draw a little bit of a line there, and then again, same as we did just before, we're going to allow a little bit of pressure, and then we're going to, as we come down, we're going to ease that pressure off a little bit. And again, a little bit of pressure, just ease that pressure off. And then onto his feet. Hopefully now you're starting to see that he's really starting to come to life. Okay. Put that one to one side now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put his rosy red cheeks in. So we just want a pink. Yeah, any pink will do. And again, what you're going to do, circular motion again, and if you can practice this, this will be better for doing this part, because what you want to do is you want to get it quite rosy in the middle and then fading it out into his fur. So pick your spot for doing his cheeks, and then you want not much pressure, just into a circle, fading out, very little pressure. But as you keep doing the circular motion, even though you're not applying a lot of pressure, it'll still build up that colour in the middle. And we're going to just do it on the other side as well. Again, just a little bit in this side. There we go. And then lastly, on his little bottom of his feet, just a flat piece of pink colour, and then if you want just a little bit of darker underneath, because obviously it's at the bottom. So on this side, you don't need to worry about the lines as much at the moment, because we're going to fill those in at the end. There we go. So that's the pink done. Put the pink to one side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the shadow underneath the teddy bear's feet. And without the shadow, as you can see, the picture looks like it's kind of floating a little bit, but once you put the shadow in, that'll really set it onto the piece of paper. So just for ease of use, I'm just going to move this to one side a little bit. And we're going to use kind of a browny grey colour for the shadow underneath. You can use if you want, you can use your normal pencil. If you want your HB pencil, we'll do this just as well. But if you've got a colour similar to this, that'll be absolutely fine. A grey or a dark brown will be absolutely fine. And we're just going to draw a little bit of a straight line underneath just to define it first of all, because that's where the darkest part is going to be. If you can see here, that's where your darkest part is. And again, we've got a little bit of a flat piece on the pencil. If you've not got a flat edge on it, then as we've said before, just a lot of pressure, hold the pencil in one place and build up a little bit of a flat head. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build up this shadow underneath. So again, just as we've been doing before, I'm going to build it up slowly but surely, just to give the And you want very, very little pressure here, because it's just a shadow that's going to fade out to almost nothing. Same on the other side. As you can see, it's fairly quick. And then just to make it, give yourself that depth, you want to go back over the areas right underneath his feet, because that's where the darkest part's going to be. Again, we just build it up. Okay. So now, we're going to now highlight these little shadows underneath his paws and on the little turned corner, which we're going to use like a sky blue colour. And again, all we're going to do is we're going to just run our pencil just around in a line, fairly, not too much pressure, but enough to define a line, and then I'm just going to, again, circular motion, very, very soft, building up that colour. And just as we go, just slightly more pressure right underneath his paw, fading out as much as you can. Same on the other side. And the same on this little bit of a corner. And again, I'm just going to fade it out a little bit. Now, if you can just see, you've just got a little bit of a background, which is the sky. It's entirely up to you if you want to put this in or not. But again, you can use your same blue colour you've just used for your shadows. And again, just really, really faintly, you're just going to put a little bit of colour into the background. Again, just with hardly any pressure whatsoever. It's literally the weight of the pencil on the paper. Now, last thing we're going to do in terms of colouring in is we're going to do his nose. Now, you can use your normal HB pencil if you want, the one that you've done your sketching in to start with, or you can use a black pencil. I'm just going to use my pencil that I used to originally do the sketching in. Now, what you need to try and do with the nose, if you can see, it's got a really nice shine on the top and a shine underneath. So what you want to do is just, if you want to define your little bit of a shine, you can do. So put a little bit of a circle in the top corner. Yeah, and then you just want to colour it in, and again you apply quite a little bit of pressure because you want this to be really dark. Apply your pressure, and then if you want to just put a little bit of a shine at the bottom as well. And there you have his nose. Simple as that. Yeah. And I've just forgotten, sorry, you need to take your blue back, and just underneath his nose, now you've finished his nose, you just want a tiny little shadow of blue underneath his nose. Again, really, really, really no pressure, really soft. Now, last bit of colouring in is going to be colouring in his ears. Now, you can do these brown or you can do these pink, whichever one you want. I think I'm going to change it for this one, just to show we can do different ones. We've done it on brown this one, but this one we're going to do it, I'm going to fill it in pink. I think it looks a little bit nicer in pink. And again, you want to put full pressure on here because you want the full colour of the pink, so don't worry about pressing on here. Some nice pink warm ears. So the last thing now is we're going to fill all the lines in before we put the message in the middle. So you can do one of two things here, it's up to you. You can either use your HB pencil again, or get a really dark brown colour. And I'm going to use a really, really dark brown colour to do the lines. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sharpen my pencil. So because you need it to be a really sharp point for this. You don't want any flat points on your pencil because you want nice sharp lines. So if you need somebody to sharpen your pencil, then get them to sharpen your pencil for you. Now what we're going to do is, this is the hardest part, because you're going to actually make sure that you get the lines correct. So what you just need to do is just look at the sketching lines that you've done and just fill in where you need to actually put the lines. So again, fairly strong pressure. You just want to be careful with this just to put your lines in. And what we're going to do is we're going to highlight where his edges are. And again, practice. The more practice you do, the better you'll get at it. I've been practicing for a lot of years to do these. I used to do lots and lots of them. So all we're doing is we're defining all we're going to use the brown lines for are where his fur is. And again, I'm not worried, and you shouldn't be worried about maybe doing a few lines here and there just to highlight, because you want it to look a little bit furry and messy, if you like. As you can see now, it's really starting to look like a finished picture. I'm going to define the lines here because the darker the better at the bottom. Try and be careful here. Just make sure you follow your lines that you've already put down. Now here for his little bit of a tummy here, we're just going to define a little bit of a difference between his tummy. All it needs is a little bit, again with very little pressure. Just going to put a little line here. And then finish off with the chops. His feet, just a little bit of Now you can see as now you've coloured it in and started to put the lines on, it doesn't really matter where all the sketching lines were because you can't really see them anymore. Okay, and then with your darkest brown that you've just used for his lines, just go over your colour at the bottom just to define it a little bit more. Okay. Now then, the last thing is these lines here on his face, which are not going to be used with the brown. You want to really define those quite dark because they're quite sharp. So again, I'm going to use the pencil that I used to do the original sketching, and we're going to define these lines a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, so we can see them a lot better. Again, be careful to just stay on the lines that you were on before. And make his eyes a little bit deeper, press on a little bit harder. Remember this kind of the speech marks for his eyes. And then his little mouth on the back. And then the paper itself as well. We're going to do that with our pencil as well. So again, now you just want to be careful with this part just to make it more defined. Hopefully yours is coming along just as well. Don't forget, if you get stuck or you need to go back, just pause the video, go back, play it again, and remember, practice makes perfect. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a message in the middle. Now you can put whatever message you want onto there. So on this first one I've put stay safe and I've put a big love heart. I'm going to do the same one again, but you could put anything you want. You could put we love the NHS, or love mum and love dad, or love whoever, or whatever you want to put. You can put whatever you want. But we're going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to show you how to do the love heart again with the shine on it. So we take our original pencil that we started with, and we're going to draw a love heart in the middle. And the way we're going to do the love heart is we're going to start at the middle. I'm going to run it around like so, in the middle. And then I'm going to take quite a deep red colour, and we're going to do the outline first of all. And then we need to colour it in. So again, you're going to use slight pressure to start with. Remember, you need to see if you've got a flat part of your pencil. If you've not, then you just need to build a flat part up on your pencil because you're going to build up the colour. Start at the bottom. And as we get to this part here, we're just going to ease off on the pressure in a circular motion. So we've got just a little bit of colour there, and then we're going to build it up and build it up. Remember, the lighter the colour you want, the less pressure you want to put on. The more colour you want, the more you build it up. So I'm going to keep the pressure on here because I want the red to be deeper. But here I want less pressure on because I want it to be lighter. And then lastly, you're going to want to put a message on, so you can put whatever message you want on. So on the first one I put stay safe. So let's put something different on this one, shall we, this time. So for this one, let's just do, and again you can write this however you want, it's up to you how you want to write it. I'm going to put W and an E, and then let's put a big N, H, S, and a kiss at the bottom. And I think you're just about done, but you have one more thing to do, and any good artist and any good illustrator will put his signature on. So he or she should put the signature on the bottom, so you put your name on the bottom, however you want, and you're all done. Right then, so that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, keep practicing, you will get it. Practice makes perfect. If you just need to rewind, pause the video, play it again, but you will get there in the end. Remember, stay safe everybody out there, and have a nice time. Thank you.